Hi, I'm Christa Jacobson, headmistress of the Budo, where we teach authentic Ninjutsu and classical samurai Bujutsu. And for those of you who don't know what that is, those are the ancient martial arts of the ninja and samurai. In today's video, we're going to talk about how to control the mind, how to control your emotions, and how to control your anger. I think that the majority of you guys who are watching my videos are martial artists, and I'm sure you guys have seen that violence is on the rise, crime is on the rise, hate and bigotry is on the rise, prejudice, and in fact hate, prejudice, and bigotry is widely accepted now, and it shouldn't be. And we live in very scary times right now, and for anybody to be able to be successful and to protect themselves and protect the ones that they love and those that they surround themselves with, not only are they going to need to train in the martial arts, but they're also going to need to learn how to control their mind, how to control their emotions, how to control their anger. Now I'm going to use lots of examples in this particular walk today as I do a little stroll and talk to you guys. And some of them are things that I've seen, some of them are little tips and techniques that I do myself, and I'm just going to share some of these things with you guys today. But before I begin, I always give a little shout out to my new viewers. So if this is the first time that you guys have seen me, I am Christa Jacobson. I am the headmistress of the Budo, which means School of the Warrior Way. We teach Koryu Ninjutsu and Koryu Bujutsu, right? So the ancient martial arts of the ninja and samurai. The school does have other areas of focus, such as reality-based self-defense, weapons training and tactics, survival skills, concealed carry, martial arts theory, thought philosophy, martial arts conditioning. If any of those topics at all interest you, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and don't forget to click the bell. That way you guys can keep up with what we're doing. I do post 2 to 3 videos a week and like to share my thoughts on the martial arts with all of you guys. So if you guys are interested in any of those topics, like I said, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and don't forget to click the bell. A little quick message to all of my current viewers. Right now I'm sitting at the high like 46,000 subscribers, close to 47,000, somewhere in there. And my first goal is to get 50,000 subscribers. So for you guys who watch my videos and enjoy my techniques and my philosophy and things that I share with all of you guys, if you could please share my channel on your social media and help me achieve my first goal at 50,000 subscribers, right? 50K. That would be absolutely wonderful. As soon as I hit that, I will be giving you guys a special video to celebrate those my first 50,000 subscribers, right? So please help me achieve that goal, right? So let's talk about this: controlling your mind, controlling your emotions, and controlling your anger. Now, a lot of that also has to get tied into ego, arrogance, narcissistic behavior, things like that, right? That also does play a little bit of role into this, and understanding yourself. Anyone who studies Koryu, the old ways, you guys know the first rule in samurai Bujutsu is you should know thyself. And you have to know thyself. You have to know what your strengths and weaknesses are, what you can do and what you can't do. But you also have to accept that, because we're not going to be able to do everything. Even if we train, to our fullest potential, there's just going to be simply some things that we're not going to be very good at. And that's why we train, so we can figure out what are the things that we're good at and what are the things that we're not good at, and how can we make the things that we're not good at better, or how can we make those things that we're not good at not kill us. So I'm going to tell you what spurred my thought on this particular subject of how to deal with emotion. I'm going to use NFL football game last night to give you guys an example, and I do think this is a good example, to be honest with you, and then we're going to kind of go from there. No, it's absolutely no secret. Anyone who follows me on Twitter knows that I am a huge Denver Broncos fan. I've been a Denver Broncos fan for as long as I can remember. No, we're not having a good year this year. riddled with injuries, right, to major key players. It has been a nightmare of a season in 2020 for us, but I am a major Denver Broncos fan, and I am a diehard fan, and that's never going to change. Well, being a Denver Broncos fan in Kansas City, who they are the Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs, sometimes is a bit rough, you know? So I'm watching the football game, and I knew going into it the Broncos were going to lose. I expected them to get really killed, you know? And actually, it came down to we had the ball at the end, and if we would have scored a touchdown, we could have won the game. So I was really proud on the way that they played, because the Broncos are having a really, really bad year, and the Chiefs are having a really, really, really good year. Now, what happened in the interviews after the game with players is what spurred my thought on this subject. But before I talk about what this particular individual said, I want to make sure that I say a few things, because I'm probably going to irritate a few people with my words on this subject with this particular individual, because he's a superstar in the NFL and you see him on the commercials and all that shit. But what he said was so disrespectful and so dishonorable. Like, I'm shocked that he said it. He's one of those guys that I really felt like, you know how like you watch sports and it might be a team that you don't follow or anything, but you just know that, okay, that's a stand-up kind of guy. That's one of those guys that's very honorable and respectful, and he's a great player. And, you know, he doesn't do all the trashy, you know, hateful, cheap shotting type stuff. You know what I mean? He's just a straight-up kind of guy. That's how I really thought this guy was. But after the comments he made, it really did change my view on that subject of his character. So when you're watching professional sports, let's take boxing or kickboxing or MMA or something like this. You know, when it's like a week or two before the fight, you know, the press and all this stuff, and they're talking trash to each other and all this kind of stuff, and then they have the press conference and they're talking trash, you know, I'm going to take your belt and all that kind of stuff, and oh, they're just talking a big game, you know, and it's good. You know, it's all right. There's nothing wrong with that. They're just trying to get a mental advantage, a psychological advantage. And they get in there and then they wail on each other, and they might say a few things while they're in there. Usually they don't talk too much because they're sucking wind, but they're still, you know, giving it a go. When the fight's over, you always see boxers and kickboxers and even the nastiest, hatefulest MMA fighters will still shake their opponent's hand and bow. I mean, even the most nastiest of fighters, you still see that. You know, and I say nasty like the people who, you know, they're a little hateful and hurtful, and they're meaning to be hateful and hurtful, more so than just get a psychological advantage in the fight. Like they're truly kind of an asshole, you know? Anyway, and so that's kind of normal in martial arts. I was watching, let's get back to the football game here. I was watching the Chiefs and Broncos, and like I said, Broncos are having a nightmare season, and the Chiefs are having a great season. And, you know, there's nobody in the world that would have picked the Broncos to win. And I am happy that they did as well as they did against a really good team. But at the end of the game, there's a player on the Chiefs team called Travis Kelce, and he's a tight end. And he's arguably one of the best tight ends in the league. Like, if you talk about who's the best tight ends in the NFL, his name is going to come up. So for you guys who are not NFL fans, he's a big name, right? He's a stud. He's one of the best tight ends in the league. And I'm absolutely not having a go at him as a person. I don't know him. Absolutely do not know him. Not having a go at him as a player. He's one of the best tight ends in the league. But the words that he said after the game, I was totally shocked. Because here in Kansas City, a lot of people say things about Travis Kelce that's like, it's like this honorable, upstanding man and things like that. And I was just shocked by the way and the words that he used at the end of a press conference at the end of a game. If he would have said certain things during a game, I get it. You know, you're in the middle of battle. You're going to talk trash, and there's nothing wrong with that. Pre-game, nothing wrong with that. But when it's over, it's over. And that's when you shake the hands, and it's not just about losing, being a good loser. It's also being a good winner, because people are watching the example. So at the end of this press conference, and for you guys, again, let me just paint a picture for some of you guys who are not NFL football fans. So the NFL usually plays one team a week, generally speaking. You play one game a week. So you have all week to study one team, to prepare for that team. You know everything about that team. You know who's going to be guarding you, what defense they do, what defense they might do against you. You're looking at your research in the players, their different, offenses and defenses and special teams, and you have one whole week where you prepare for one team. You don't get that mixed up. I mean, there's just no way. So anyway, and in Travis Kelce's case, he's one of the NFL superstars. I mean, he literally is an all-pro tight end. He is very good at his craft. And at the end of the game, he says something. I'm not for sure the exact words he uses, which that's an irrelevant. What he said was a little irrelevant leading up to the point. But he called the Denver Broncos the Raiders. And he did it. There's no way he didn't do that on purpose. And it really makes him look like kind of an asshole, and I'm sure the people that love the Chiefs and love Travis Kelce is going to be like, yeah, look at him talking that shit and backing it up. No, it's okay. And there's nothing wrong with that, and I guess if people like that sort of thing. But to me, I saw that and I was just so disgusted because I was like, the Chiefs are like 10-1, 11-1. They have an MVP quarterback, arguably the best quarterback in the league, with arguably the best tight end in the league, and arguably the best wide receiver duo in the league. They score more points damn near than anyone. And they just got done beating a team that has zero chance of making the playoffs. And after the game was over, and a team that has no chance of making the playoffs played their asses off and at least kept it close. Instead of just tilting your hat and be like, shit, those boys showed up and played, they fought hard. We eked out a win here. He totally, purposely, and I say purposely because Travis Kelce is a guy that, he's a superstar. He's an all-pro. He's in front of the camera all the time. You know what I mean? He does interviews all the time. You don't make a mistake about, you just got done preparing for the Broncos all week, and then you defeat them, and then you belittle it by saying, yeah, the Raiders were tough or something like this. And he called them the Raiders, which I guess, if you're a smart-ass Chief fan, that would be an upgrade because the Raiders are also having a much better season than the Denver Broncos. So I guess perception is a matter of perspective on that one. But nonetheless, he didn't mean it as an upgrade in that sense. He meant it as an absolute disrespect. And as a martial art teacher, the purpose of training is to be able to control your mind and your emotion. And there's that line of, we talk about the elements, the 5 elements of the Godai, which is Chi, Sui, Ka, Fu, Ku. So earth, wind, water, fire, and void. And fire is one of the sacred elements. Competition, right? Aggression. And being able to control that is a good thing. If you can control fire, fire can give you warmth. Fire can protect you. Fire can do lots of things. If you can't control it, one small match can burn down the whole forest. So fire, although it is one of the sacred elements, it's one of those that to be good with fire, you've got to be able to control it. Anger and emotions and things of that nature are part of the fire element. Because when we talk about this one word is directly linked to the fire element, and it's called intent. What is your intent? Doing something with intent and drive, that is very much linked to the fire element. So when I heard that, I was like, oh, damn. Because living in Kansas City, and I know there may be their local commercials, but you see them all the time, And that really changed my perception of him, because I didn't think he was that kind of guy. I thought he was the kind of guy that was like, he's one of the best tight ends in the league, and he lets the actions on the field talk for him. I didn't know that he was the kind of guy that even after a team that's way better, he's on a team that's way better been the team they just defeated, that he would continue to belittle them after the game. I didn't think he was that kind of player. But nonetheless, that's what sparked this thought today on this lesson. So let's get back to the martial arts. So many times we have people that they fight lots of things, and we could have different discussions on different types of elements, whether it's depression or anxiety, fear. All those are tied to a different element. But right now we're going to talk about fire, or what we ka. In Japanese it's called ka. So kajutsu, or fire technique. And from a mind, body, spirit, from a mind perspective, fire would be associated with intent, anger, things like that. So when you're sparring, the thing with controlling your emotions to start out with is you have to understand who you are and what are the things that piss you off. We're all going to get angry. There's anyone who says, well, I don't get angry, or I don't do this, or I don't do that, or whatever, some Zen monk underneath the waterfall that never has a feeling. No, that doesn't exist in our world. It's not very real. You know what I mean? So, and that's probably not you if you're watching this video. So it's not about anger, it's how you deal with the anger, because you're going to get angry, you're going to get emotional, you're going to get mad, but it's how you deal with it. So when you have those feelings, you have to ask yourself, you have to take a step back, and this step back happens within a second. It's not something where you have to pull a Mr. Rogers Neighborhood and step back and say, okay, Christa, are you really upset? What are you upset about? It's not like that. You don't do that. What you do is you mentally take a step back for only a second or two and refocus. Because once you're pissed, you can use that and drive the focus and focus in on the objective at hand. And at that point, that's when you don't let the emotional aspect become your weakness. You have to be able to control it. Like I said, if you can control fire, it brings you warmth and stability. If you can't control it, a single match will burn down the whole damn forest. It's without question, there is nobody in the ninjutsu community that's been hated on more than me. Even some of the other organizations or study groups or schools or whatever word you guys want to use, whatever group it is that you're talking about, maybe that group has a lot of hate attached to it, but I can promise you, they've taken shots at me too. And that's just simply because I'm a transgendered woman. I'm a transgendered woman that teaches combat. That's the truth. And a lot of people, literally 50% of our country, does not like that. I'm going to use an example to kind of back up why I say 50%. We have, without doubt, the most hatefulest, racist, prejudiced bigot as a fucking president right now. And during this presidency that he was in there, 2 times he tried to get transgender people banned from the military. 2 times. And I'm just going to speak about the transgendered stuff. I'm not going to talk about all the other horse shit that he's done, just trans. 2 times he tried to get transgender people banned from the military, like lose your job, you're fired type thing. He tried to reverse gay marriage and make it illegal. He tried to, and it got stricken down, but he tried to make it to where anybody of the LGBT community couldn't adopt children. I mean, when you have a president of a country that's based on freedom, and freedom of expression, and you have a president that's like, nope, if you're transgendered, you don't need to be in the military. If you're transgendered or part of the LGBT, well, then you don't need to adopt children. If you're transgendered and you're part of this, well, you don't need to do this. And he constantly took away transgendered rights for kids in schools. I mean, he did numerous things against the LGBT community. And the reason I'm using him as an example is because in our country, even though Joe Biden won the election, Joe Biden got elected president because the majority of people cannot stand the vulgar, disgusting, hateful, racist, prejudiced bigotry that spews from Donald Trump. So 80-some million votes. But why am I making this point? My point is that 70-some million people voted for Donald Trump after he tried to take away transgendered rights from people in the military. after he tried to abolish gay marriage, after he tried to abolish rights of the LGBT community for adoption, after he took away rights of kids, LGBT kids in schools, after he done all these horrific things just to the LGBT community. Forget all the other stuff. Let's just leave all the other stuff out. We'll just stick to this. Just stick to the LGBTQ. After he did all these hateful, prejudiced, horrific things by trying to take away rights, 70-some million still voted for his ass. So for me, as a transgendered woman, trying to teach martial arts in a world of combat, self-defense, and all that kind of stuff, 50% of the people will automatically say I'm a fake or I'm a fraud and this and this and this, just simply because I'm transgendered. I get more people hating on me all of the time. And have anybody ever seen a video from me where I called somebody out? No, never. Because it's not the right thing to do. Has any of you guys ever seen me make a post about a certain individual or anything like that? No, because it's not the right thing to do. Now, of course, they make videos about me and posts about me and blah, 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 blah. And those people that do that makes those posts about me or the Budo or whoever, doesn't have to be just me, but obviously they can't control their emotions, because if you're so angry that you got to get on the internet and post some stupid shit, you clearly can't control your own emotions. I mean, you clearly have a problem, right? For me, I don't post that kind of stuff at all, or I never have, for multiple reasons, not just because it's not right. But another reason, I'll give you guys a couple reasons. One, it's just not right. And my parents raised me better than that. Two, I don't post that kind of stuff because I do believe in karma, and I believe in the threefold law, and I do believe that the energy that you exude, you get back. When you're going to be a complete asshole, a complete arrogant, self-centered, egotistical prick, and you're just going to talk trash on everybody, and you're going to belittle everybody, and you're right and everyone else is wrong, well, you can't get upset if no one wants to talk to you. No one wants to be around you. No one wants to work with you. Because if you're going to be that kind of person, no one's going to want to be around you or talk to you. You know what I mean? So the second reason I never post that kind of stuff is because I believe in karma. I believe in the threefold law, and I believe that if I do something purposely that's going to be vindictive or angry or any of those kind of things, and I throw and put that stuff out, then I believe that it is going to come back and bite me in the ass, and it's going to bring negativity into my life, and I don't want to do that. And I don't want people to, and I don't want anyone who looks up to me as a martial arts instructor to feel that way. Now, the third reason I don't do that is because I don't believe there's anybody that's all bad. Even the people that say these hateful and hurtful things, and they perpetuate fake news all over the internet about me. They perpetuate these lies. They talk and all this stupid shit about me that's just hateful and hurtful, and they've made all these posts, and they've made these emails, and they've posted in the comments, maybe thinking I don't read their comments or whatever, and they say all these hurtful things. The reason I still don't make comments about individuals is because I don't believe anybody to be ultimately bad. So, if you guys are looking up to me as a martial arts instructor and you like my philosophies and strategies, when you see something that's posted on the internet, if I'm not doing it and I'm catching 1,000,000 times more hate than you guys, then you guys shouldn't do it. You know, it's not right. Don't say hurtful shit. If you believe in karma, don't say hurtful shit. If you do believe that everybody has a little bit of good and bad in them, then don't say hurtful shit. That's the only reason. You just don't do it. Regardless if they do it, it doesn't matter. You're going to be judged by your actions. Let them be judged for theirs. When someone says something that's in this intense, violent situation, what they do is really what matters, not what they say. It's not what they post. You know, transgender this or whatever. It's what they do. When someone's in front of you in a self-defense situation, they're going to run their mouth. They're going to trash talk in the heat of the environment. You know, again, mental, psychological mentality and psychological advantages and things like that make up a big portion of that we talked about, those emotions, fear, anxiety, stress, and all that kind of stuff. So maybe someone comes up to you and they say, you know, hey, Give me your wallet, give me your purse, do this, and they have a lethal weapon, whether it's an edged weapon or a firearm or something, and they're putting their will on you, and they're saying these hurtful things. You've got to be able to, again, know yourself, know your limitations, know what you can and can't do, and focus on the things that matters, not so much the words. They have a lethal weapon in front of you. Their words really shouldn't matter too damn much. So you can't let things that don't matter. And my master, Kobayashi Sensei, said something. I say this to my students all the time, and it's just an absolute truth, and it's a great quote, and I use it all the time. Nobody's strong enough to get in your head unless you're weak enough to let them. That is a great quote because it's so true. It's like, how many times in your life has maybe your mom or dad or parents or guardians or someone that's raised you, how many times in your life have your parents told you to do something, or your, like, parents, guardians, or whatever, they've told you to do something and you didn't do it? Or maybe they said something and you're just like, and you go about your business. So someone that you love very much, someone that cares for you very much, who's raised you, they're telling you to do something, or they say something and you totally just brush it off like it's not a big deal. But then someone that you don't know says something that hurts your feelings. Now granted, I get it, we live in an age where people are wrapped up on titles and, you know, political correct speaking and things of that nature. But as martial artists, we need to discern ourselves from things that matter and don't matter. And Miyamoto Musashi said it best. He said, you know, do nothing of no use. So don't get involved with things that isn't going to change anything. So how do you train the mind? Well, the mind is a reflex organ. You train it just like you do a muscle. You lift weights, the more weights you lift, the more resistance you give it, the stronger it becomes. So if you only think inside your box and you never try to learn something and get outside of that box, well, then it's going to be a weak mind. So you need to practice controlling your mind in a time where you're taking a lot of friction. How do you control your emotions? Well, the only time to do that is when you're emotional. So at times that you are emotional, mentally take a step back, take your breaths, and then ask yourself, what am I doing here? Why am I doing it? Is me addressing this situation, is there going to be anything positive coming from it in any way at all? Right? You have to ask yourself that question. Then, when you get past that, then you talk about the anger. When you're pissed off, what are you angry at? Are you angry at a situation? Are you controlling that situation? Why are you pissed at an individual over a situation that you're probably not in control of and they're not either? You have to control that as well. Even though people like to point their fingers and say it's somebody else's fault, ultimately, nobody is responsible for your success. You're the only one responsible for your success. That's absolutely it. Martial artists should hold themselves with a little bit of dignity. I get it. I'm definitely outside the box in the world of martial arts. People take their shots at me all the time, being a transgendered woman that teaches martial arts and ninjutsu and bujutsu. But just because people take their shots at me and things of that nature, like I said, I've never ever made videos back. I've never done that thing. Now, have I had private conversations? Oh, of course. But all those conversations that you have like that, you do it in private. You're upset with someone, you say, hey, let's step into the room and have a conversation. You know, or you do that in a private setting, whether it's a personal message back to each other or something like that. But you don't put it on a public forum. You don't put it on a public YouTube video or a public blog or something like that. That just shows no control. Anyone who wants to try to belittle someone and post them on a video or a blog or some sort of like Facebook page or something like that, they clearly don't have very much control with their emotions. And as martial artists, we're training to control our emotions in a violent, intense, aggressive situation of self-defense. In a world where violence and crime and bigotry and hate is on the rise. And if you guys seriously can't control your own anger, your own mind, your own emotions in a world where all this shit is happening, and you guys are the kind of person that's going to be like, oh, I've just got to get on Facebook and out somebody, or I've got to get on YouTube and out somebody, or Twitter or Instagram or whatever the hell the different platforms are, right? If you're really the kind of person that has to get on social media and post all these hateful and hurtful things about an individual, then you are very emotionally weak and you can't control your own emotions, because your opinion on that person does not change the actions of that person, nor does it change anything at all. I started the Budo Yukai back in 2004. It's been 16, 17 years. And I've acquired thousands of students all over the world, wrote multiple books. We've got a complete online dojo, all that kind of stuff. And in all of my years of teaching Ninjutsu and Bujutsu to people all over the world, there's never been a time where someone said something hateful or hurtful that changed the success of my school. My actions did. Now, all of my thoughts and philosophies today, it all started by that one comment that he made at the end of the game. And I was like, this is what is the social norm. You know, I do want to say, I know I've said this earlier in the video, but I want to say it again. You know, I don't know Travis Kelce. Maybe he is a great guy. Maybe he's a very honorable and respectful man. I don't know him. I just know that comment at the end of the game really, in my eyes, took away his greatness, because I always saw him as a guy that, you know, let his actions speak for themselves, and he wasn't going to be belittling a team or belittling people after the game, after he already got the victory, after he got the win. You know, he's a great player, arguably one of the best in the league at his position. But to get belittled like that at the end by the opposing team's, one of the opposing team's best players and one of the best players in the league, and to take a shot like that, I just thought was a little disrespectful, dishonorable. And the thing is at the end of the game, when everyone started making their post about it, oh, Kelce called the Broncos the Raiders, and he made all these comments. The funny thing is, everyone put it like the laugh emojis and the funny face emojis and the ha ha ha. And I'm just sitting there like, this is the world we live in. We live in a world where it's perfectly acceptable to be a complete ass and to be hateful and hurtful on purpose and to belittle other people. We live in that world. Well, anyway, those are my thoughts on the subject today. So, again, if this is the first video that you've seen of me, I am Christa Jacobson. I'm the headmistress of the Budo Yukai. If you guys are interested in authentic ninjutsu and classical samurai bujutsu, please check out my website at www.budoninjutsu.com. There you can see a list of our schools, the philosophies that we teach, and the traditions that we have here within the school. If you don't live next to one of our schools, but you would still like to train in authentic ninjutsu and classical samurai bujutsu, you can always join the Budo Yukai online ninjutsu dojo, and you can study with us that way. So thank you guys very much for your love and support. I deeply appreciate it. Until next time, take care, be safe, and good luck in your journey of Budo. Bye.